Episode of our Junior Orange Bowl podcast. We have another great episode today, joined with a couple guests. I would like to remind everyone that we have our parade coming up this Sunday down Miracle Mile. You can grab your tickets on Eventbrite or through our website. We'd love to see you there. We encourage everyone to buy VIP tickets. You get all-inclusive food and alcohol, and it would be great to see your support. So to kick off today's podcast, we've got another tennis-focused episode. It's timely as our tennis event is currently taking place. I would like to get my guests to please introduce themselves. Dayton, you can go first.
Absolutely. My name is Dayton Hansen. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at ICL Academy.
Awesome.
I'm Pascal Collard, and I'm the CEO of the Zephyrs Academy in Tampa from the Mouratoglou Academy.
Amazing.
And I'm Michael Weisenfeld. I'm on the board of the Junior Orange Bowl, specifically in charge of the tennis. I'm also the founder of X YoungStars agency.
Awesome. So we all kind of make up what is this amazing tennis event, and I think that, as you can probably see, there's been a lot of great growth over the years. Dayton, please explain what you do in ICL, what it entails, and then also your involvement in what we're doing with the Junior Orange Bowl this year.
Yeah, I appreciate the question, Mimi. So the Orange Bowl itself, I mean, it's been amazing to start a partnership with them. We've now been in partnership for the past couple of years, and our partnership has continued to expand. And I'm going to tie it back to a little bit about why that partnership has expanded and what ICL does. So ICL at its core, we are an academic institution. Students in grades 5 through 12, most of our kids are high-performing athletes. We say passion-based, and the reason we say passion-based is we've got a number of kids that might be actors, actresses, performing artists, but many high-quality tennis players, golfers, soccer players, those elite athletes. And the reason they're coming to ICL is probably similar to when most of us grew up. I can't speak for you as much, Mimi, but I think for me, Michael and Pascal were probably of the age that we didn't have the schooling option to go online for school. We were in a traditional brick and mortar where you started school typically at 8 a.m. every day and you were there till 3 p.m. I myself was an athlete. I played all sorts of different sports. By the time I got to high school, I was football, baseball, basketball, and I had to make a decision at that point because it was tough. It was challenging to kind of do all three, and so I chose baseball, and that was the route I went. But the reason ICL has come about is the level of competition, the training, the fitness, everything that goes into it these days. To be in a classroom for 33 to 40 hours a week is just unrealistic at this point. So we started ICL over the past 10 years, went fully online about 5 years ago, and have given our students, our families, an opportunity now to go out and train and travel and attend tournaments just like the Junior Orange Bowl. They give them the chance to really develop as an athlete and also as a student as well. Still get those high prestigious academic outcomes, but have the ability to develop as a tennis player, in this case as partnered with the Junior Orange Bowl. So the last thing I'll say on it with our partnership with the Junior Orange Bowl, to be a part of the most prestigious junior tennis tournament, not only in the U.S., but internationally as well, has been a huge thing for us. We are looking to continue to expand our partnership for many years to come and to be able to support these young junior families and then the entire Orange Bowl base going forward.
And ICL will be the presenting sponsor from 2026, 2027, and 2028. So thank you, Dayton.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on board, and I think it's important that we are still encouraging education. Yeah. I think in this day and age, again, I went to similar schools to you all and managed fitting around my rowing schedule at the same time. But I think what's really important that we kind of can't lose sight of is the importance of education.
Correct.
And still carrying that whilst encouraging all of the add-ons that come with the training. I think you get to a point probably as a parent where you're like, am I doing enough for my kid? Are they spending enough hours on the court? Are they doing enough? But we've also got to understand that it takes one unfortunate training session for that to potentially be career ending. So we still need to facilitate that education piece and upskilling. And I think when you look down the track post-career, you'll be so glad that you have had all of those experiences.
Well, to your point, Mimi, I mean, you're exactly right. The first thing that we ask our students when they come in, we talk to the parents about it, what are your goals? And as you can imagine, most kids will say, I want to go pro in whatever sport they're going after. The truth of the matter is about 1.2 to 2% of kids actually make it pro. That doesn't mean your career ends, though. You can still have a great college career, but it's about the academia side of it as well. And so going back to ICL, we teach business with sport, leadership, entrepreneurship. We have a brand new creator course that we just put out there as tying to the whole NIL experience. And so as you walk out of the classroom with us, even if your career ends on the tennis court or on the golf course, whatever it may be, that's just the beginning of the rest of your future. And so we want to set them up with those, again, skills, those elements and lessons, develop them. And our mantra is champions for life. It has nothing to do with winning a tennis tournament or a golf tournament. It has everything to do with making sure that they're truly a champion for life and being able to go out and have those amazing life skills.
Awesome. No, I celebrate everything that you guys are doing, and I think it's important that people definitely consider that pathway because I think it makes everything kind of possible. Pascal, moving on to you, I think that there's a lot of crossover between what you guys do. I would love to hear about what your organization does and kind of your career getting to where you're at, and I guess what you see the future of everything that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. First of all, I want to insist again on education because yes, we are the tennis people, but without that, it will be a disaster. And I think a lot of parents are dreaming, kids are dreaming. The reality, he said 1.2. I think it's actually less than that, to be honest with you.
Right.
And then, what does it mean to be a pro? Yeah, if you're a pro and you're 600 in the world, you're not going to make any money.
Right.
So to really make a living, it's going to be less than that. So education, 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 although we are tennis, right?
No, I commend that. And I think more coaches should be understanding that you can learn more in the classroom than just picking up a textbook, retaining knowledge, and then regurgitating. I think it's about the all-encompassing development of the individual.
So in our system and in France and in our place, if you don't have good grades, you don't play tennis.
Yep.
So very important, right? So we work together.
Yes.
It's not like in the past, it used to be the school in tennis.
Yeah.
Now we work together. And we stimulate each other, actually. So that's a good thing. I think the biggest difference between other academies and our academy is the methodology. Patrick is well known for that. And it's about how you deliver the message. I think that if you're a tennis coach, it's a given that you're supposed to be able to teach a forehand or backhand strategy, etc. But how you deliver and listening to the child, we don't do that enough. There's too much overcoaching in America.
Yeah.
Way too much. And I'm American. I love this country. I became American. But way too much overcoaching,
Yeah.
right? It's a business. Listen to the child. Miss a forehand, miss a backhand. Listen to him. Why did you miss?
Yeah.
Let him talk.
Yeah.
Let him talk. Once you understand the child, then you can really coach him.
Totally.
If you don't understand the child, how can you coach him? So I think that's really where Patrick is insisting a lot, listening to the child, the methodology, which I'm totally aligned. I'm from Belgium, he's from France, but we work on the same ideas and the same methodology. Europe is, on the top in the world when it comes to producing players.
Yep.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Numbers don't lie, so there's a reason for that. I don't think we are smarter. We just have a system
Yep.
and repetition. That's it.
And I think tennis is really hard because it is just you out there at the end of the day. Like, I mentioned I rowed, and it is individual to a degree, but then you're in a boat with everyone else, and at least you have the support of your teammate to kind of pick you up. Like, learning through Michael's experience as a dad, kind of like waving to your daughter off at the airport, and she's, 14, 16? Like, that is really tough as a parent. Like, so many parents are putting their trust and faith in you to be like, you're the one who's also shaping the outcome of my child, which I think is pretty daunting as a parent. But to them, I understand they have people also in the academy that become their friends and become their teammates, but it is really individual. Like, how do you find the kind of ups and downs of working with people one-on-one? And the nature of the sport is individualistic, but do you find ways of incorporating in larger team activities or getting that kind of team feel in what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, and I want to add first to what you just said. Imagine this, in tennis, you almost lose every week. It's a sport where every week you lose, except the winner, right? But nobody wins every week, the tournament. So you lose almost every week. Every week you go home with a loss. How tough is that, right? Federer said that in his entire career, number one in the world, one of the best players ever, he won 53% of the point. Out of all the points he played since he's 12 years old,
That's crazy.
Wow.
53% of the points. So imagine that. Imagine how tough that sport. It's not only individual, but it's probably one of the most difficult sport to get to the top and to stay at the top. No doubts about it.
Yeah.
I think it is very important. We try to do other sports with the kids. We install a beach tennis there. We have padel, we have pickleball. We encourage them to play another sport, which, by the way, I do strongly believe that until 14, 15, you should play another sport. Even, I'm not saying in a very high level, but you should do that. Absolutely.
Totally.
Too much focus on one sport.
Specialization.
Imagine you get injured and you have nothing else to do, and you need to have another sport. And then other activities with friends. So we forbid, for example, the cell phone. So when you come to the center, we have a space, a little bit like what you have behind you, with little pockets, and you put your phone in it, and no cell phone.
Yeah.
Because it become truly, and I think Australia actually had a new thing with a cell phone, like social media, right?
Got banned for all under 16
I mean,
year olds.
I think it's marvelous.
Yeah.
It's marvelous because we had kids on the court doing training. First thing they do when they sit to drink between points, they take their phone and then put it back there.
Yeah.
How do you think they think when they go back on the court? Let's say that news that they got on the phone or whatever, it was a bad news or it was something that they don't like, they're not going to train the same way. No chance. So sorry to insist on that, but I think it's a huge piece.
Mimi, can I add one comment to
Of
what
course.
Pascal said? One of the things we have at ICL is our Champion Mentor Network. We have a number of champion mentors, and one of them being Steve Nash, one of the most famous basketball players ever, 2-time NBA MVP, top 100 player, and myself, my business partner, Kirk Spahn, who's our founder of ICL, we were at lunch with Steve about 8 months ago, and we were sitting and talking exactly about what Pascal said. And I just told you, Steve's one of the best athletes ever. We were talking about his kids, and he literally said, you know what I do? I take a bunch of sports equipment and I throw it out in my backyard and I let them gravitate to the equipment that they're interested in, and they kind of just play with all of it. And he goes, you know why, Dayton? He goes, sure, do I know my son is a very good soccer player, as was Steve, and most people don't know that. He's a phenomenal soccer player.
Wow.
He's now also turned himself into a pretty amazing tennis player. You guys should see him on the court.
Yeah.
But his point is don't specialize at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Let these kids play multiple sports. Don't burn them out. And Pascal makes a great point there, where if you let them have that experience, it will develop them in many ways. And plus, the activities that they're doing with other sports, the motions in baseball or football or golf, whatever it may be, they tie into their sport as well. So it's such a powerful comment that Pascal made.
I have been a big proponent of this in Australia growing up, where kind of PE is mandatory until year 10. Like, it is a sport of everyone does everything. I don't know if Ash Barty.
Yep.
She went pro in 3 sports. Like, she's a phenomenal golfer, tennis, cricket. And I think, I'm not saying that we're the only country that does it, but I've always been a proponent of this in all of my sports administration classes. I'm like, people need to play multiple sports, and you pick up those hand-eye coordination or those disciplines, but burnout is so prominent these days, and it makes me sad because we're losing the reason why we like sport. Like, we are overtraining these kids to exhaustion, where they don't even have enjoyment for it anymore. And these are the best in the world. Like, maybe we have a kind of ceiling on what we can achieve because we're encouraging that. And I get it. There is so much motivation now with NIL. There's money on the line. There's scholarships. It's very competitive. But I think as parents, like, the least that what you can do is kind of let them pick and understand that, but also understand that they may learn something else from running a cross-country race or playing golf on the weekend, or even just developing fitness from swimming laps in a pool. Like, I think it's important for coaches and obviously educators to facilitate that and encourage that, because I think we get in this mindset of, hey, because everything's so accessible online, I can see this person who's my competitor on the other side of the world training 7 days a week. Why am I not doing that? And you kind of get this fear in you that you're like falling behind. Michael, I would love to move on to you. Obviously, last time we talked about your involvement with the Junior Orange Bowl, but you also have started a sports agency. Can you tell us a little bit about YoungStars? And I guess you've had a lot of these kinds of conversations with parents. What are you really encouraging, and what makes your business different to others?
So YoungStars agency is mainly focused on the properties more than the athletes, the youth athletes themselves. So managing sponsorships and enhancing the experience of these sports properties like the Junior Orange Bowl, and making the experience for the kids, the stakeholders, the parents, and so on, much more enjoyable. So that's a niche that I think is untapped and a great way for brands, and that's why I decided to go into it. And I think ICL and Mouratoglou and all of our sponsors are a proof of that. It's a great way to connect with these kids at a young age, when they are not bombarded with people trying to get their money, brands trying to get their money, and to contribute to an experience they're gonna remember for a very long time. Obviously they already are in the ecosystem of ICL and Mouratoglou, but let's say if you have BMW as a sponsor of the Junior Orange Bowl, and they help the experience every year 12, 13, 14, 15. By the time the kid is 16 and has a choice between Mercedes or BMW, we are in tennis, so I'm talking about wealthy.
You're a good salesperson. Good.
But we can say Honda and Toyota, you know. But let's say Honda is the sponsor of the Junior Orange Bowl. If they have the choice between Honda and Toyota, they will go for Honda because they have a special bond. I remember with my daughter Emma, we were always going at the courtyard when we were traveling all the time. We were traveling pretty much 2 weekends out of the month. And so, you know, the courtyard is a very simple hotel, but nice. But today, 4 years later, if you ask her, hey, do you want to go to the, you know, Ritz-Carlton or the courtyard, there is 90% chance she's going to tell you the courtyard because she has all her memories.
Yep.
So if this hotel brand is associated with that pathway, so that's what I figured could be a great niche and what I'm going to start developing. And of course, incidentally, you come across parents, young athletes, that I would like to work with, but not necessarily on an individual basis. My focus is going to do teams like Team Red Bull, and you don't have that in tennis. So it could be Team ICL, could be several sponsors that will be part of a team of 5, 7, 8 players with different attributes. Could be girls, boys, 13 years old Ukrainian who is killing it right now, and a 17-year-old boy who was 600 ATP and 3 months later is 400. You know, different profile, different background, so that as a brand, you mitigate the risk of having a poor story, and also you increase your chances that every week you will have something to say, because he said you lose 53% of the point, but they also like win 55% of their matches altogether. So if you have only one player, you're gonna have a bad thing to say. I mean, a bad thing to say. Something maybe negative this week, following week. If you sponsor a team of 5, 6, 7 players, you're always gonna have something interesting to say, whether they win or lose. But you know, you have a story, and I think that's an interesting concept that does not exist in tennis. You have it in pickle paddle with the teams, but in tennis, it doesn't exist. So that's gonna be my focus. That's what I have identified. That's something I like. Also, as I was taking care of my daughter, I didn't find her sponsors, but I found her a nice agency that kind of took care of that. So talking about the parents, I would like to commend these what they do, because ICL, for instance, it's a big game changer, because as a parent it's a major decision. If your kid wants to be serious about the sport, at some point you kind of need to accommodate their academic schedule, and it's impossible to do without online. And there are other companies that do that, but for having seen the other companies, ICL is the only one who really is, in my opinion, so much understanding of what a youth athlete is about and what is his journey, and so on. And so that's very reassuring for the parents and for the kids. And as far as an academy like Mouratoglou is concerned, to have an academy where Patrick Mouratoglou, for those who don't know, he's one of the rare coaches who has the spectrum of players he had, from like 7-year-olds to Serena Williams. He's seen it all. So you start there, and you can, end as a Grand Slam winner. You don't have a lot of places where someone has that understanding of all the faces. Plus, it's a one-stop shop, and it's less of a headache for the parents who, until they get to a place like Mouratoglou, are kind of the CEO of their kids, finding a mental coach, the footwork coach, the heater, the technical coach, this and that. And then even if you have the best people, if they have too much ego, they don't work together. While they do that, they make sure to recruit people who can work together, and that the message goes around the table. And so as a parent, my daughter Anna, she left 2 years ago to another place in Italy. I'm a little bit disappointed that I've relinquished a lot of what I had to say, and how my daughter listens to me, and that kind of makes me sad as a parent, because it was a big part of my life and of my enjoyment. But at the same time, it also makes our lives a little bit less stressful, because they take care of everything, and they don't have just one kid like your parents, but at the same time they still are very focused on making sure that the journey is customized for that kid.
I guess to both of you, a lot of the questions I think on listeners' minds will be, tennis is already a very expensive sport, let alone everything that happens pre-college and then after. It still gets expensive, but you would hope to attract sponsors and partners and whatnot. Are there scholarships? What are the opportunities for parents to kind of pursue different avenues? It is a very affluent sport, but it's hard to kind of like talent identify so early to know that your kid is worth X, Y, and Z. So how do you guys kind of pitch to people that their kids on the up and coming, they're interested in this, they want to pursue both their services, but are there other routes for financing?
Yeah, Mimi, I'll kick us off, and then please, Pascal and Michael, jump in. So it's interesting. We at ICL, we're grades 5 through 12. And the reason we start at 5 is, I'm going to go back to something you just said a moment ago. When you're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, it's tough to start to see if a kid's going to have what it takes to maybe take that next step.
Yep.
And what we've noticed is right around 5th grade is where that kid might start to take that slight turn. They're showing an interest or a gravitation now maybe to a particular sport, or maybe their skill level has developed a little bit. That's why we say to kind of jump in that 5th, 6th, 7th grade. Doesn't mean you can't jump in later. But for us, we saw that that was the prime time to jump in. To your comment about, a standpoint from a financial standpoint, we incorporate scholarships, financial aid. The differentiation about ICL, one of the many differentiations is we're not looking to break the bank from a tuition standpoint, because we understand everything it takes to go into these kids' passions. I mean,
Yep.
Tennis alone, you're going to have a coach, you're going to have travel for tournaments, you're going to have fitness, you're going to have so many things that go into it, and then you have the education aspect. And so for us, scholarships are a very big deal. Financial aid is a very big deal. We have priced ourselves in a way that we have a lot of different partnerships. For example, between ICL Mouratoglou, we have a partnership. There are discount opportunities available. And so for these kids that are out there seeking these different passions, it's incredibly important to us to be able to ensure that we're in essence tying their passion to a purpose and doing it in a financial way that makes a lot of sense. I guess the last piece I'll add on that before kicking it over to Pascal is, when I talk about passion to purpose, it gets again into those differentiators, and this being about ICL, that's one of our big differentiators. We take their passion, in this case tennis, and we tie it to their purpose and their super purpose. And that purpose being, you've now shown that you have a passion for tennis. We want to make that your purpose. Not only tying it on the court, but off the court as well. Integrity, character, and then we build in personalization. When people come to ICL, you don't sit down and take a cookie cutter approach and say,
Yep.
everyone's taking the same 5 classes. We ask you, where are you looking to go? What do you want to accomplish? I want to go D1. I want to go Ivy League. I want to go overseas. Our plans are individualized for each of those students, and then we tie that again back to the financial aspect that you just talked about. So I think that's why we're seeing a massive shift when it comes to education. A lot of students are starting to come to ICL. A lot of students are starting to shift in their minds, and parents shift in their minds to online in general. When it comes to ICL, we have over 530 tennis players now. We're the largest online school for tennis players in the entire world.
Wow.
And again, it's because we prioritize not making the most money. In fact, our margins are very, very small. It's about making sure we're setting these kids up for success, because there's a lot that goes into it, and we want to be a part of that.
Again, I do think it is important, and this is the benefit to kind of sports catered institutions, is to understanding that truly kids learn in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, it's scary to say, but I feel like I didn't really understand how I learned until I got to college. Like, there were different tools and mechanisms that I learned throughout high school, but then really learning that works for me, like, that was really important. So I think that it's awesome that those kids can kind of go through the tailored systems that you're talking about, and maybe then that will translate to how they're like taking information from a coach.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, so Patrick has a foundation called Champ Seat. He is actually the one that helped Coco Gauff in her career when she was 12 years old. She needed money and help and support, and Patrick was there, and many other players afterwards. So there's a foundation, that's one. And B, in each academies, we do have scholarships. So obviously, based on the income, we are tax return, look at it, and if we can help, we help, for sure, because it is a very, very expensive sport. So what's also very important is that although it's a huge company, it's global, but Patrick oversees everything. Every time I have a player that I like, that I feel, there's potential, I send a video. Every time. Patrick wants to be Patrick is coming to the center a lot. He's coming, he's watching every kid.
Yeah.
I have to drag him from the other court to say, let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
It's time, Patrick. He said, no, let me spend a little bit of time with that kid. I mean, you know, Patrick, it's his passion. He doesn't have to do it. He could retire anywhere in the world, but that's his passion, and kids are his passion, truly. So, yes, definitely we do have scholarship, but we need also paying customers, for sure, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you need to have the right balance.
Yeah.
And on our side, so we help them with the basics of their tennis bag. So for instance, the strings, especially when they are young, they need soft strings, which are expensive. I remember Emma, she was breaking 2-3 times a day. Those Luxilon, I think it was. No, X1 by Phase.
It's a Belgian brand, so probably that was
X1 by Phase. That's Technifib.
That's French, by the way.
And it was breaking 2-3 times a day, and it's $25.
Yeah.
So it was a budget of $8,000-9,000. So when you find a deal with these guys and you don't have to pay those $8,000-9,000 or 75% of that, let's say, you don't have to pay, it helps. So we help with that. The racket is a little bit less expensive, but obviously we find the racket, the clothing, the shoes. Shoes, it's 2-3 pairs of shoes
easy
per month.
Easily. Per month?
I mean, it's two pair of shoes per month.
Yeah.
When they are like 14, 15, and let's say it's $100, or more actually. It adds up. Everything adds up, and then the part that adds up a lot is the travel.
Yeah.
And the tennis. They already discussed their scholarship, the school as well, but the travel is very expensive. Yeah. So that's where we find other type of sponsors or work with agencies like Edge.
Yep.
Edge, they do get a financial stake in the players. It can be from $20,000 to $100,000 a year, and then they get their money back. But they really do it out of passion, and so before they start making their money back, the kids has to have an amazing career. So it's not like they are putting a financial burden on the athlete. They really do that to help them grow, and So there are different options, but the parents do not necessarily know these options, and that's where we come into play.
That's awesome. Well, my final question to you all, I would say twofold. What's been your highlight of the Junior Orange Bowl so far? And to other sponsors that are looking to come on board, why our tournament? Why our competition? I mean, this can go to kids that are wanting to participate, parents that are going to take their kid and book them a flight to the other side of the world to hopefully play in the tournament, and as a partner, like, where do you guys see the value in that?
Go ahead, Pascal.
Sure. I would say I love this last question because it kind of helped me a little bit to talk about the last point. We didn't talk inclusion. Yep. I mean, I think that you go over there and you see people from all over the world,
yep.
All over the world, all kind of, and families, and this is fantastic. And this is what we have in the academy, right? Yeah. You see, and I think it's probably the only individual sport, I think, where you have that kind of inclusion. Think about it 2 seconds. I don't think there's any other sport like that, right? So, and that's fantastic. And it goes even far. We have a girl who is autistic, right? And she's great. She loves tennis. She would play 10 hours per day.
Far out.
Not easy to always navigate, but she's there. And the kids have to learn the acceptance and the inclusion. So that's what I love the most. To see all those kids from so many countries over there is fantastic. And I can see really that the new organization, if I may say, of Michael coming in is definitely a breath of fresh air and definitely on the right path to become really even better.
Thank you.
No, I think we are looking to innovate across everything that we've done, and they've built an amazing committee with tennis. And I think the good thing is, like, we've got our KPIs in mind, obviously wanting to be the best in the world for the age group, but I think what you just said about inclusion and diversity is so important, because this in itself is a cultural experience for a kid that'll last a lifetime. Again, we know in this world where there are different opinions, beliefs, all of the following, how often do parents and kids get to interact in a fun and competitive environment and still learn to treat people with respect and build those friendships that are beyond all of these differentiating opinions that we have in today's day and age.
I want to build off what Pascal said and what you just said, Mimi. Right before I came in, I was at registration over for the main draw, and one of the families I was talking to was one of our ICL families, and the father and the daughter were there, and they traveled from Taiwan. And he said it's a 30-hour door-to-door travel, and they came in for Eddie Herr and did Little Mo, and now they're here wrapping up their time. And they said, themselves, they said this has been the best experience. This is their first Junior Orange Bowl, and they said this has been the best experience just these first few days.
Wow.
Not only because of the inclusion of all of the different things that happen. I mean, the Junior Orange Bowl does such a wonderful job of making sure that there's a connectivity amongst these kids, but there's tremendous partners. We at ICL, we have a great partnership with Wilson. And as we go back to that last question, Wilson, they provide all of our kids with apparel, that's shirts and hats every single year. There's no cost associated with that, and that gives us the ability to continue to give back to these kids. I also would be remiss in not mentioning, and Pascal made me think of this, when we talked about scholarships a moment ago, we have our ICL Foundation. The ICL Foundation was started back over 20 plus years ago, and we've given over $10 million in scholarships from the ICL Foundation. And so it ties all back together to wrap up this point around, these kids that are coming in and what they're getting, what they're experiencing. It's so amazing and so fun to get to see them be able to interact all these different cultures. That Taiwanese family that I just spoke to you about.
Yeah.
As I was walking out there playing ping pong, you've got our girl from Taiwan playing a little ping pong match against one of our kids from the Midwest in Kansas. You couldn't have two cultures.
She won, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They couldn't be more far apart, but it was just such a cool dynamic to be able to see that diversity. And we have so many of those stories that not only happen at our school, but here at the Junior Orange Bowl, and as Pascal mentioned as well. It's just an amazing experience.
Very happy to hear that two of these important sponsors are very happy with how things are going. For us, the key when we choose a sponsor is not just based on the money, like I've said last time. It's based on what they bring and their involvement into making the experience of these kids better. Because, like Pascal said, you come to a tournament, half of the draw loses in the first round. They come from Taiwan, they come from Australia. So on. It's a long trip with a lot of hopes because that's the highlight of their life, or at least that's what they think when they go to the Junior Orange Bowl. And you lose in the first round, so that they're gonna be sad and so on. So how do you make this overall experience good regardless of the result? And that's what we've been trying to work on for the past 3 years. That's where we are reinvesting the money that we are getting from the sponsors, and we pick sponsors with whom we know we can grow, and that we know we can achieve the vision together. We had other schools, he knows, we had other academies, we had other brands, but the selection is really how in maybe a small tournament, wheelchair tennis. Because I think for me the wheelchair tennis athletes and disabled athletes in general are the ultimate athletes because they come with a disability that they overcome. And that's for me the most inspiring athletes are these guys. So I think I would like to do that next year or in 2 years. I don't know. It's not easy to set up, but if that's of interest to you, I don't know. What's your involvement with that?
I can tell you I have only one experience. I play against the world champion in wheelchair and I lost 6-0, 6-0. Wow. So I'll be more than happy to do that because I have the most respect for them, for sure. No doubts.
We would be open to it at any time. We actually have the #1 junior wheelchair player, Charlie Cooper. He's based out of Palm Desert, California. Yeah. He's at every major these days. He is one of the most amazing individuals I've ever met. Just so down to earth, but I will never play him on a tennis court because he will absolutely kick my butt.
I didn't take a point.
So maybe next time at the next player party, when the players from Wilson comes, the pros, we can also do an exhibition and we start from there.
You put Roddick in a wheelchair and you make him play against, and let's see.
Let's see how we go. Well, thank you all for an amazing conversation. Again, we're very grateful to have you as partners, and I think it's evident that we all kind of share a common goal in giving that experience to the kids, and I've only heard positive things. So to anyone watching, please come down to either the Biltmore, Crandon, or Salvador Park. Our tennis competition goes all the way through to next Wednesday. Some of the best tennis you'll see in the world, especially for its age group. The draws can be seen on our website under tennis, and you can also check out any details related to the parade this Sunday at 5 p.m. down Miracle Mile. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mimi.